What is up, RotoGrinders? 2 hours nonstop NBA DFS conversation starts right now on a Wednesday night. Myself, Tim Buell, Tasteful Tides, one of the greatest beards in all of RotoGrinders history, rocking it today. He's hot as well, fresh off taking down, I think, the $100 single entry contest, if I'm not mistaken. Tim, is that what we took down yesterday in first place? Did you bank it? Were you on the podium? I think you were.
I banked the 55 being $100, and then I tied second in the bigger $100 single entry. So it was still a really good night. But yeah, no, I banked the smaller one and got second in the bigger one.
Shout out to you. We have TJ Zwarych, one of the greatest DFS players in all of Saskatchewan, Canada, coming on later tonight, as well as the Notorious one, Noto, jumping on for crunch time, hour and 15 minutes. Baseball is back tonight. Little appetizer, little teaser. You're getting an a la carte game. You got the Yankees in San Fran tomorrow. We're going full baseball. Noon, myself, Dave Potts, Jesus Good, Derek Carty. I'm just curious what the crossover is. Can we make a poll, Steve? You're here. I presume you play some NBA DFS. Are you planning on playing some baseball DFS? Are you planning on playing baseball DFS? I wonder if we have any first timers too, because that's always fun if we get new people in the pool. Let's set a poll up. I'm curious. You're here for basketball. Are you playing baseball DFS? I assume there's a lot of crossover. We were talking a little bit pre-show about it, Tim. We are excited about baseball season. It is something new. It's always weird because opening day, and we'll talk about it tomorrow. It's like, man, I love baseball DFS. And, it's the best pitchers and it's bad weather and it's like 7.5 totals. And where are the runs? Where are the dingers? Yeah,
you get really excited this time of year for a single and a double. You're like, wow, my guy actually made contact and got fantasy points.
Yeah, I haven't fully dove in. I'm gonna do it tonight as far as the slate. I know Dave Potts, Jesus Good's article is already out, so I'm looking forward to reading that. I'm not sure if you read it just yet, but yeah, doing some my baseball. Like, I don't know who's the matchups are just yet. I feel pretty good as far as the season, well prepped. I know you've dipped your toes in the season-long waters. I think you're now in the dynasty waters.
I'm in the dynasty streets for the first time in my entire life. I played dynasty football before. I've never once played dynasty baseball. So I'm dipping my toes into the dynasty streets. So you're going to be hearing about my dynasty team all season, Dean. Every time I'm on a show with you, I'm going to bring out my dynasty team.
I always annoy you and talk about my hockey dynasty team, so now you're going to get me back for sure. Which we're in first place. I know the people want to know. And I'm playing against a bunch of Canadians too. I'm the outsider. I don't know anything about hockey. Okay.
So you're another guy from Florida winning a title against Canadians.
You know what? Florida just dominates
in the sport of hockey. I mean, this is the least shocking thing ever.
And it might be the Lightning this year, right? The Panthers are taking the year off. They're fine. They won a couple cups. Now we're just going to chill. And the Lightning, I think, are one of the best teams in hockey. Is that fair to say?
Yes, that's fair.
It's amazing that the state of Florida dominating the NHL. And, of course, Tampa's won. It wasn't too long ago. Tampa took down the cup as well. All right, DFS. We care about today and today only. Today we're talking about some basketball. It's an 8-gamer. There is an absolutely putrid tank-off. We'll be talking about a good bit later on in the show. The Wiz and the Jazz. It's high and it's tight. We have Luka Doncic taking on a Pacers team that certainly wants to lose. They accidentally won last time out, and they got a lot of work to do to get back into that tankathon. A phenomenal real-life basketball game, OKC in Boston, but not really registering as far as DFS. Two really, really good teams, two good defensive teams, two healthy teams. We'll acknowledge their presence, but probably not a lot of love for our purposes. Injury stuff. Embiid's officially questionable. Haven't seen him in a bit, right? Quentin Grimes, questionable. He had the fish. He's ill. He had the Philly cheese, right? We get to Paul George. Paul George is back from suspension and probably good to go, right? It wasn't injury or anything, and he was ramped up in practice, so he should be fine. Somewhat shockingly, we'll talk about the Pacers. The Pacers are not doing their questionable nonsense. I could not believe when I saw Pascal was probable. I don't know what they're doing. They didn't get the memo. Miami, Cleveland, high and tight as far as that total. We'll talk about that in a bit. Not a lot of key players. Jalen Johnson is questionable. I think he's coming back tonight. That is the first half of the ESPN doubleheader. We got Atlanta at Detroit and then Houston, Minnesota, back half of the ESPN doubleheader. So we have 16 teams, right? 8 games. Only one team on the front end. It's almost all island games. One team on the front end. That's Detroit. One team in the back end. That's Cleveland. That's it. Everybody else, island game. Denver's island. No, Denver played back, but we don't care about Denver. They're not on our slate. But for what it's worth, if you care about such things, they are playing the back half of a back-to-back. Tim, how are you seeing tonight's 8-gamer? Are we holding our nose and just playing players in Utah and Washington because, they're cheap? They're going to play a lot. The defenses are optional. As far as who closes this game might be a little dicey. But, a lot of players are projecting really well. The rosters are thin. I'm seeing 10 Jasmine and 10 Wizards as far as being available.
Well, we could talk about it, about the 10 Jasmine, but I mean, is V and Love even going to play?
I don't know. Possibly not.
You know what I'm saying? Like, I kind of was interested to hear what your take was. I mean, we're going to talk a ton about that game. We're going to talk more about that game than really any other game on the slate. So I'm not gonna jump ahead. But I don't even know if I see 10 Jasmine. Like, I know that they're available, quote unquote, but I don't even know if they're going to play. So it's going to be, that game is going to be super tricky. You're really going to have to lean into the projections team for that one, because that game, I mean, I know we're kind of just doing the overview of the slate here, but I mean, this game is super, super important. And, we're going to be talking heavily into that game, but I mean, this is the type of game where, like, this is why you need to be a premium member. This is why you need to have projections, because this is so important. I don't even know if Svi's going to play. Like, I don't even know if Kevin Love's going to play. Like, you might only have 8 Jasmine in the rotation, but not like a ton of news here. I mean, obviously Jalen Johnson's the big one. I've been on hockey projections today, but it's only a 2-game slate, and so I was starting to look at NBA earlier today, and I was, like you said, I mean, I was expecting 10 Pacers to be questionable when I saw them on the slate, but there's no Pacers are questionable. I was like, what is going on here? And then it's really just the Sixers stuff. Kind of interested to hear, like, I've kind of heard some differing thoughts about what Paul George is going to be doing tonight. Like, I mean, I've heard somewhere between like 24 to 30 minutes, because that throws like an interesting wrinkle into that situation.
I didn't see that. That's interesting. I didn't mean to cut you off, but I saw like he's basically good to go. He's been practicing. There's no injury, He's just
right. I know. Like, so he's in, that's what I read too, that he's in great shape and he's basically good to go. So I think that we have him projected for 30 minutes now. Is that right?
Let's see. I did like him on FanDuel, because FanDuel, you're getting a bit of a discount. We're giving him 30, but I wouldn't be surprised if he beats that. I would, yeah.
So you wouldn't be surprised if he beats that. Okay. Because I
don't think it's a cap.
Yeah. Okay. All right. So I was thinking, like, is he even really going to play that much? But you're thinking that he's going to potentially go over that.
I think so.
Okay.
Yeah. I think he's just like fine. He's fine to go. And, I don't think there's any issue. I could be wrong, but that's what I saw.
That makes sense.
And it's meaningful if Embiid doesn't play. It's meaningful if Grimes doesn't play. Grimes has been out for several games with the illness, with the fish. But speaking of the Utah, well, we'll get to it, but they didn't even try. They gave Filipowski the Utah flu. Let's give him how many times have we given him the flu this year? 3? One more time. Let's do it once more. Nobody will notice. We're doing the wheel today. Get in the Discord channel, RotoGrinders.com/Discord, live stream chat channel. Looks like we're giving away 2. 2 as a base. 2 as a base. If we get to 100 likes by, I assume 6 o'clock is when we spin the wheel, give or take, we'll give a third individual week. RotoGrinders.com/Discord, live stream chat channel. Go to Steve's post, Steve HOF. It's in pink. There's a RotoGrinders avatar. Just hit that avatar, and you'll get your name thrown on the wheel. We'll spin the wheel, and we'll give away individual weeks of premium. And you get, what? Not just basketball. You get baseball. You get Dave Potts. You get the goods. You get the bells. You get the whistles. You get the optimizer. You get PGA. You get Noto. You get cards. You get the entire golf team. You get MMA. All the sports you can think of, with the exception of NASCAR. Okay, we'll do that in about 6 o'clock, give or take. And if you're going to hit the wheel, hit it now. Like, let's not make Steve's life. Don't everybody hit the wheel at 5:55. He's got to take your name and throw it on there. It's a whole process. Make his life easier. He was kind enough. He just said, you know what? I'm going to give away some premium. So let's make it easier for Steve. Anything else you want to say as far as big picture stuff? Like, Philly is interesting as far as the injury. We're waiting on Embiid. I think there's a decent chance he plays. I don't know about Grimes. We'll see. I mean, illness, you really can't gauge that, but it has been a couple games. I think he's missed a couple games. You know why I know that? Because my season-long basketball team, I have Grimes on my IL or DL or whatever it's called, and we're in the playoffs, so we're in a battle. So I guess I can use Grimes, I suppose. But all right, you got anything worth noting, or shall we just take a dip and dive in?
Take a dip.
Dip, duck, dive, dodge, dip. Did I hit all 5 Ds? Well, maybe I did. Maybe I didn't. Not sure. Somebody in chat will correct me. The first game is Philadelphia, right? We're talking about Philadelphia. It's pretty high. It's very high. 240.5 is the total. Sixers are 6.5-point favorites versus the Bulls. We have 3 7:00 games, I believe. Yeah, this is one.
Grimes is in.
There you go. All right, season-long team. Here we go. Although he's not really a big player and doesn't help him. Do we get in the rest of the news or just Grimes?
The only thing I've seen is Grimes.
Okay, that's okay. We'll get it piecemeal, I suppose. But yeah, Quentin Grimes, he had the Philly cheese. He's officially good to go now. Oubre's still out with that elbow. Embiid, we're projecting him in with that oblique. And again, we mentioned Paul George back from his 25-game suspension. Taking on a Bulls team that is, whimpering here at the end. They're without, Kuro is officially questionable. Sean Yabusele is officially questionable. Anthony Simons is doubtful. Jaden Ivey, we haven't seen him in a long time. He's still out. Zach Collins still out. I don't really love this game a heck of a lot. I'm curious what your take is. I know Giddey's always got that triple-double potential. You got to pay for it for sure. Embiid, is he going to be full throttle first game back if he's back? I did mention Paul George. Paul George, FanDuel specifically, is pretty appealing to me. He's almost 1K cheaper over there. 6.7, right? Do the thing. And 7.5 on DK. But talking about Philadelphia and Chicago.
Yeah, I mean, I definitely have to have interest in Josh Giddey here. Like, I know that price tag is getting really, really high, 9,600. But I mean, he's got 60 points in him. Like, this is definitely, like you said, he can get a triple double each and every time he's on the court. So, and he's still playing minutes in the high 30s here. So we have projected for 35, but I could definitely see him getting over that. So I think Giddey is super interesting today, and I don't think he's going to be super chalky, just because we have so much value in that Utah-Washington game. Like, people are going to be paying up for higher price studs. That's going to keep guys like Giddey, I think, kind of insulated here in terms of ownership. So I think Giddey's a really, really strong play. I think he can be in your 3 max pool. I think if you wanted to take a risk, he could be in your single entry team as well. Likely not somebody I'm going to be playing in single entry, but like I said, if you want to take that chance, I don't mind it. VJ Edgecombe, I think, is interesting, especially if Embiid were to miss. But even if he were to play, I think he's okay. Another guy whose price is really getting pretty high, but I think, again, he definitely has a ceiling. We have him as a medium projection of 42 points right now. I think he's a really, really strong play. It's kind of too bad that Paul George is back. Like you said, Paul George is a pretty good play on FanDuel. I'm not sure if I'm going to take the chance at 7,500 on DK, but FanDuel, he's cheaper. So I don't mind him over there. But DK, I think he's still a pass for me, even if you think he's going to play a couple more minutes. I think I might just take a pass on him. Buzelis at 7,100, very scoring dependent, but he's another guy that can definitely beat his price tag at 7,100 on DK. So definitely, I don't mind getting Buzelis. I wouldn't necessarily play them together, but I think taking shots on them in GPPs is okay. Outside of that, I don't really have much interest in this game.
Yeah, the Bulls, we talk about the tanking stuff. They kind of put themselves in a strange corner because now they're just them in Milwaukee. They have identical 29-42 records, right? They're in no man's land. They have 4 more wins than New Orleans at 25-48, and they have Golden State. It's got 5 more wins than them. So they really can't maneuver much. Chicago, they're just kind of where they're at. Both them and Milwaukee, the terrible jobs tanking. They both did kind of a half measures thing. And the other part of that is that the report about Billy Donovan allegedly being like gone after the season. So what does he care, right? Like he says, whatever, I'll just play my guys, I suppose. He's out the door, which may or may not. It looks like it's true. We'll see.
Is Donovan going to UNC?
I heard that rumor. Yeah, I heard somebody talk about that today, and I'm not locked into that kind of stuff enough. But that was one of the first names they threw out there. But I don't, man, look, why would he want to? Like if you – why would you want to mess with the NIL stuff that seems so much more tricky to do the recruiting these days? From what I can tell, it just seems like it's a much different landscape and just more work. But maybe it's obviously one of the top 5 college basketball destinations for a coach, right? Duke, UNC. There's a few others, I suppose, in the conversation, but that job opening up, maybe that's where he's headed. But the point is that he's just going to continue playing his guys. Now, I guess nobody in the front office is like, hey, stop doing that. Like, I don't understand that. But maybe those guys are gone too. I don't know. But somebody should step in and say, hey, maybe we should stop playing our guys into the ground. But now they've gone too far because they're just at where they're at, and that's it. Because there's 10 games left and they really can't maneuver. And again, it's them and Milwaukee, the only two kind of jockeying for each other. As far as this game tonight, with Philly and Chicago, you mentioned the plays that are kind of sort of somewhat interesting. I don't think I'm going to be on anything, especially if Embiid plays, so he kind of mucks up Philadelphia a good bit. We're only giving him 24 minutes, so he's not full, but he eats enough where it hurts. I know you can play Edgecombe. I know you can play George on FanDuel, but that's where I would consider playing him. But on DK, can't get excited. Giddey, you really got to pay for it. Certainly you can get there. Smith, a little bit of a minutes issue with him too. I think he got to 26 minutes we're giving him. Probably can't go much more than that, but I don't really like this game as this is a general thought. That's kind of where I'm at. And if Embiid doesn't play, the prices have already, adjusted enough with him being out. There's no real bargains amongst the guys that get boosts, the secondary players.
Would you keep Giddey in a 3-max pool?
Yeah, maybe. Is he somebody you're considering? Is he kind of like the last man? I wouldn't start with him.
Yeah, I wouldn't say necessarily start with him, but I would keep him in a 3-max pool, I think.
So if you're telling me I built a team that I like and I happen to have like 9-6 left for point guard, okay, I guess so. That probably won't be the case, because I'm probably gonna start with Luka, like everybody else. I think that's the main plan. There's ways to get different, obviously, but he's not going to be owned in 3-man stuff. He's going to be 4%, just pulling that number out the butt. But that sounds about right, doesn't it?
Yeah, I was thinking more like 7, but yeah, 4 is fine.
Single digit. He'll be he's got to be
under 10. Under 10, I agree.
All right. Anything else here as far as Chicago and Philly?
Nope.
I guess our update for Embiid is no update, right? Game time decision for Embiid.
Yeah, it's a GTT.
Yeah, that should be just nickname for Joel Embiid. It seems to be always the case with him. Hawks Pistons 228.5 is the total. It is tight. Detroit is a 2.5 point favorite here against Atlanta. We are waiting for Jalen Johnson. We're currently projecting Jalen Johnson in. Otherwise, Atlanta is clean, right? Atlanta is good to go. Detroit, we know the deal. Cade Cunningham is out for, I presume, at least the regular season. Duran's good to go. He's probable with his knee. Sasser is out with the hip, so the backup point guard's also out, which really opens things up for Jenkins. We'll talk about Jenkins here in a second. Last 3 games, the 3 games he started, he's averaged 12 potential assists, like pretty healthy usage as well. 21, I think, his lowest percentage point. The price has been bumped up, but we'll have an interesting conversation about him. Like he could play 37, 38, 39 minutes. That's what he's been playing. Like he's been playing ridiculous minutes because they're really, really thin. Beef Stew still out. No Isaiah Stewart with his calf. How are you seeing the Pistons and the Hawks?
Yeah, not a lot of stuff going on for this game. Even if Jalen Johnson were to miss, we have an if-then setup for this. There wouldn't be any positive RG values, really. There wouldn't be really anybody that would be jumping to play here, just because this matchup is so bad. In fact, I think the only way that I'm building into Atlanta is potentially getting a small share of Jalen Johnson if he plays, just because I think he's got immense upside and he's going to be like 2%. So, if you're building out like a 20 max tonight, you could maybe put him in a 1 and you'd be overweight. But honestly, this is just such a bad matchup, for Atlanta. It's really nothing that I'm looking to play. Like, I think this is most of these guys, like most of the Atlanta side, is basically an exclude.
That is where I'm at as well. What is Jenkins on DK at 6'3"?
So on the Detroit side, Jenkins I think is a pretty strong play. Kind of a fringe 3 max guy. Maybe not single entry, but definitely somebody that I'd be getting exposure to in larger field stuff. I think there was some some chatter that maybe once he signed his full contract that he was kind of like mailing it in, but I don't think that's the case. Like, I think that this guy has like pretty immense upside. And I think that, assuming he's still getting the minutes, which he's going to be for now, I think 6,300 is too cheap. So it's definitely like we've seen him put up 43, 48, fantasy points this last 2 games. I think this is a pretty good spot here. So I would definitely be getting exposure to Jenkins. I think Jalen Duren is somewhat interesting as well. Outside of that, though, I think that everybody else would be pretty easy exclude for me from the Detroit side.
Jenkins, fantasy point minute player this season when Cade's off the court, and I presume that's basically, I did the court IQ with that earlier, and I presume that's basically whatever it is because he rarely plays alongside Cade, I would imagine. Also, coming off that game winner against the Lakers, you mentioned, big score against the Lakers and a game winner. 39 minutes that game, 38 in the previous game. He had 22 against Washington. I think that game was a blowout, the Washington game, if I'm not mistaken. That was his first start without. I think that was the first start, right? He started the last 3 games without Cade. I could have that wrong. He also came in mid-game against the first Washington game because that was when Cade got hurt within, 5-10 minutes of that game or so. And the usage, 24%, 21%, 21%, 28%. So pretty healthy usage. He's heavily involved in the offense. I mentioned last 3 games, averaging 12 potential assists, that is. I don't love the matchup, against Atlanta. Pretty good defenders here. And I also don't know how good he is. He's undrafted, and not to say you can't be a good NBA player and be undrafted, but that list is not very long. There's only 60 guys, but even second rounders mostly miss. But opportunity, he's getting the opportunity, and there's really nobody behind him with Sasser being out too, and LeVert can do some ball handling, but he only plays so much. I feel pretty good about Jenkins despite the tricky matchup. So I'm on board, and if we can get him for 10% or so in single entry stuff, which I'm not really sure. We're at 13% for large field. Maybe he just sort of holds and keeps that percentage. Anything else here? Detroit, Atlanta, moving on.
Yeah, I think that's good.
The last of the 7:00 games, Lakers, Pacers, 240.5 is the total, big total. Lakers are 8.5 point favorites. Back-to-back weeks. I know you follow this. I know you're big into every single. Who is the NBA Player of the Week? You're always on top of this, right? Do you know that Luka Doncic has won it in back-to-back weeks? He's been on fire. He's been out of.
I actually did not know that, but I am not surprised because I am at least in the DFS streets, so that does not shock me.
So in the month of March, beware the odds. Beware the entire month when it's Luka Doncic because 36.5 points, 37 minutes, 66 DK points. That is his average. Again, I'll repeat. This is for the month. 36.5 points, 37 minutes, 66 DK points. The Pacers, tanking Pacers, last 15 games, the worst defensive efficiency in all basketball. It's also the third best matchup for combo guards. We're going to call Luka a combo guard. Third best matchup according to the RotoGrinders defense versus archetype matchup tool. You got to pay for him. We have plenty of value. Luka, for me, is by far the best big spend stud. Like, you can get Luka and Wemby. You can make that work too. There's plenty of value stuff. But if you only have one, if I'm only going to play one so-called stud, elite stud, depending where your cutoff is, I love Luka tonight. I think Luka's a full-on smash, and I don't see any reason why this stops. Like, we're talking about 55 fantasy points is like a floor, basically.
Yep.
So it is a blowouts risk. Yeah, that can happen. I should have mentioned, by the way, as far as the injuries, the body parts who are monitoring. Well, we did get a midday downgrade for DeAndre Ayton. Dominic Ayton's got a back. He's questionable. And that back tends to flare up. So I think there's a decent chance he misses. Decent chance. Who knows? We'll know. It's 7 o'clock as far as the tip time. So we'll know before a lock. I imagine it'll be Jackson Hayes that would jump in the starting lineup. Rui Hachimura is still out, and as is Marcus Smart. So Lakers are pretty thin as far as their wings. And we mentioned the Pacers didn't do their shenanigans despite, I think they won their game last time. I think that was against Orlando. They had a 16 game losing streak. They're tied right now with Washington in the Tankathon, 16 and 55. Actually, they got a half a game on them because they have a loss on them. They're 16 and 56. But they got to get back to their losing ways tonight. Despite that, Pascal, probable. Okay. Nembhard, probable. All right. Naismith, probable. I feel like this stuff may change, but I guess not. Maybe they just think the tank takes care of itself. And the other thing is, if we can get like real minutes out of Pascal, I think he's an interesting run back. This Lakers team is not very daunting defensively. I just don't know, Tim. I don't know. Do we get shenanigans, mid-game shenanigans? If it's close, it's more likely. Like if the Pacers are ahead, we'll keep Pascal on the bench a couple extra minutes longer. How are you handling this?
Yeah, I mean, Pascal just seems too risky for the contest that I play. I don't think he's going to be my single entry pool or my 3-max pool. I could see getting exposure in large field stuff just because he does have a pretty nice floor ceiling combination at that price point at 7,800. So I think he's okay if you want to take that risk. But man, this Indy team is complicated and they are full of bodies tonight. And I can see a lot of shenanigans happening here. Like, I could see like the in-game shenanigans, like what you mentioned. Like, yeah, we're not going to sit anybody. We're not going to be like, oh, we're not going to get fined. Like, we're not going to just like rest guys, but we're just going to play them all 25 minutes. So Siakam's not going to hit a GPP winning score in 25 minutes. Like, I could see that. Like, he could play 35 though, and I could get burned, and he could go for 50 plus. And it's just one of those things. Like, I just can't. I'm not personally going to take that risk. If other people want to take that risk, I totally get it. I see Taylor Smith, who's somebody that I respect quite a bit. He does really great content for us at RG. Like, he's got him written up in lineup HQ. I get it. Like, I agree with it. Personally, I can't do that. Indy is a complete stay away from me, Pascal included.
Yeah, again, like their last game against Orlando was tight down the entire fourth quarter, and Pascal played mostly the entire fourth quarter, and Nembhard played essentially the entire fourth quarter. I just didn't understand. Maybe they just wanted to get a win because they were tired of losing for a month straight. Maybe that's what it was. I don't know. And I don't run a bunch of lineups. You don't either. So I'm likely not to play Pascal. It's too risky, whatever. But I think he's in your pool for tournaments because what if they do? Yeah. And if they're down 10, you could safely play him, right? It's just hard to say. And there's really no way of predicting, what the flow of the game's going to be. Are they going to be up 10? Are they going to be down 10? I'm not sure. All right. I think that's it for. Did you give your Luka take? I apologize.
Let's just talk about the Lakers really quick. I mean, Luka's obviously a top overall play. He's super easy to get to. There's tons of value tonight. Like, you're locking him in. He should be, honest, in my opinion, like, you should just be going like 3 out of 3 of him and 3 max. Like, he's got to be in your cash game team. Like, he's super easy to play. Like, unless you like really just want to take like a stand, but I think his raw point potential is just massive here. This is an 8-point spread. It's not like a humongous spread. So, I mean, I think Luka's just like the clear cut the play for me. The interesting kind of wrinkle in this game, like you mentioned, is the Ayton injury. Like, Jackson Hayes is going to project really, really well. Like, we have an if-then set up for Ayton, and Hayes would be getting up to, I think, 26 or 27 minutes at 3,200. Fantastic play, but we already have some really nice value centers that are going to be coming later. So
Oscar Tshiebwe.
Yeah, we got Oscar Tshiebwe. We've got potential Wizards centers possibly as well in that same price point. I almost said Capitals.
Oh my God. I thought you were going to say Bullets. You didn't go Bullets or Capitals?
Steve would have just cut me right off the air. I would have been canceled right then if I'd said that. But yeah. So I don't know. It's like, how much are we going to be weighing Jackson Hayes versus those other super, super cheap center only plays? I don't think he rates out quite as well as those Utah Washington guys, despite the fact that he's going to rate out as a really, really strong points per dollar play.
Yeah, I'm trying to see the if then you're talking about. I accidentally closed out my page, so I have to get to it now. What was the amount of minutes you said that we're delegating his way?
I think in the if then we'd be giving him up to 26. Yeah, 26 minutes.
And there's what's behind him. Vanderbilt, I guess, is what's behind him. I'm just trying to think of. Yeah, I guess they're basically chopping those minutes, et cetera. Vanderbilt and Hayes. Okay, yeah, I guess Hayes will project. He would project all right. But we've seen Jackson Hayes chalk go sideways multiple times. That happens. Mm-hmm. Seems to happen often. But maybe we don't have to worry about it. We'll see. We did get Jalen Johnson officially in for Atlanta. Not terribly surprising. Okay. I want to mention, we talk about baseball season, Tim. Baseball season is coming. It's happening tonight. MLB, it's back. We're giving you a discount. Your first month of Combo Pro is $64.99. That's the same price as MLB alone. So if you wanted a baseball alone, like baseball a la carte, that's all you like. All you want is just baseball. That's what it's going to cost you. Combo Pro, football, baseball, basketball, hockey, NBA, PGA, WNBA. I missed something? MMA, everything except in a NASCAR. So you get all the sports, same price as baseball a la carte. And after playing all the sports, that's what you want to fire up for. It will renew at $119 and change. It also includes Plate IQ, which I don't know about you. That is where I live. As far as baseball season, and I'm figuring out, the starting lineup and strikeout percentages and all that kind of stuff. How things can change and how I will pivot on the certain pitchers depending on, and it gives you all the Statcast data there as well. But it's all in one confined area. I'm jumping on, I'm on Savant and I'm on Fangraphs and I'm on all those things as well. But I do love, my favorite tool at RG is Plate IQ. You also get SimLabs. You also get Lineup HQ, premium articles, all the goods, all the bells. So do check that out. And I should mention, speaking of premium baseball content, the Bat X projections by Derek Carty are now available for the 2026 season. It's a separate add-on sub, Bat X. As a separate add-on sub, new this year, the Bat will also include Carty's baseball betting picks. So there you go. And like I said earlier in the show, myself, Carty, and Cheese, Dave Potts, we're doing it. We're doing the thing. We're going to have tiers. We're going to have power rankings, stacks, all the goods tomorrow at noon. Noon is the scheduled time, talking some baseball where all the teams are going to try to win, in theory. I don't know if the Marlins playing. The Marlins are going to try, I guess. The Rockies, I'm not sure if it's a core slate. We'll look about. We're digging into later on this evening, Tim. Okay. Thunder.
I haven't looked at anything either. I have no idea who's playing tomorrow.
Yeah. I don't know. I'm not sure, but I imagine it's a lot of low totals. But maybe I'll be surprised. Maybe there's an athletics game. OKC in Boston, 220.5 is a total. It's low. It's low and tight. The Thunder are 2-point favorites here at Boston. This is not the national TV game. I guess it's just a funky time. Not really sure, but they went with Atlanta and Detroit. Two really good teams, two really good defensive teams, two really healthy teams, Tim. Boston is fully healthy with the exception of Vuk. No Nikola Vukovic. OKC, the Thunder, they're back. They're fully assembled. Voltron is good to go. There's just nobody injured of note for the Thunder. So a fun game. You want to watch some good basketball, turn off the Jazz and turn on, Boston and the Thunder. If you want to win DFS tournaments tonight, I don't know if you're playing anybody here. I don't think I am. I don't make enough lineups. How about you?
I don't see how you could really be building into this game. I mean, the Celtics are the slowest paced team in the NBA. This is a really, really low total. I believe these two teams played earlier in the year. Granted, that was without Tatum, but I think they ended up scoring like 210 points total. It's just not. This is just not a game that I have any interest in. Both teams appear to be pretty close to fully healthy. I know that Tatum's going to figure it out, but the Celtics offense has been worse with him back. I don't expect this is the game where they find that groove against the Thunder. So I just really have no interest in this game at all whatsoever. And ownership's reflecting that. Like, most of these guys are like 1%, 2%, like Jaylen Brown, 7% at 9,300. But now that Tatum's back in this spot, like, I really don't have any interest. Jalen Williams, he's back now, but I don't think he's playing enough minutes.
No.
So it's like everything's super crowded with both these teams now. Like, everybody's fully healthy. It's a bad matchup on both sides. Low total. I think this is a catch me up game.
Yeah, Jay Will is back. They're not going to extend him too much. They got 22, 24 minutes or something like that. He's mostly fully priced. There's no reason for the Thunder to push him. They have their eyes, of course, on the playoffs. They're in the Western Conference. I think they have a 3-game edge on San Antonio. They're very likely not going to lose that. They're kind of sort of cruising in. It would be silly of them to push Jay Will, but the time he's out there, he's hitting off. He's just taking little chunks off of the ceiling of other players. Some guys might get DMBs just because their rotation is too good. It's just, that's it. You can't. I mean, for me, you can't really play. I guess you could play SGA in the pool, whatever. It's not hard to get over the field that you want, but I don't make enough lineups, and I'm not playing anybody in this game. This is the one that has me scared, Tim. This one has me scared. Miami and Cleveland. 242.5 is a total. It's high and tight. It's a beautiful setup, right? We love this. Cleveland's the only team on this slate in the back half of a back-to-back. Wait, are they the only team? I think they're the only team.
I believe Cleveland's the only team, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, Denver is too. We don't care about Denver. They're not on our slate. Cleveland did rule out Max Strus. They did not let Max Strus get his revenge. They played him yesterday. I don't know why they didn't figure that out with the schedule, but no revenge for Max Strus. He's not playing tonight. They gave him a foot for his management. Jared Allen's still out. Nothing new there. Jalen Tyson has got that toe. It's a left great toe, if you're curious which one. For Miami, well, the Heat are in a funk. They're playing bad defensively. They've lost, I think, 5 in a row, despite winning 7 or 8 before that. They've been getting streaky for sure. Wiggins is good to go with his toe. The battle of the big toes. Wiggins is fine with his big toe. He's going to be playing tonight. Jovic is also available with his back, but everybody's healthy for Miami. So when anybody of note for Miami is available, it's a great environment. We love the pace, but everybody's healthy and players are kind of at the peak of their asking price. Bam is $9K. You saw he put like 45 minutes the other day, and like he doesn't want to come out. I was listening to some quotes from Spo and from Bam, and Bam was like, "I'm tired of playing in the Miami Heat Invitational." He didn't say that. He said the playing game, but that's what he meant. He's like, "I'm tired of it. I don't want to do it anymore." And he got angry the other day when he came out against the Spurs. That game, of course, is a lost cause pretty quickly. So there's an opportunity. There's a chance. And like Spo was talking about how like what great shape Bam is in. Like he can play 40 plus minutes if they want him to. You can't project it, but just that's something that can happen. And we saw it. I guess we saw it against Washington, but that was because he was going for, the record disrespectfully, might I add. Like how dare he score points in the bucket? How do you see the Heat and the Cavs? Because I don't know if I'm getting to a lot here, and I'm a little concerned because I feel like I should, but then who?
You feel like we should be getting a ton of exposure here with a 242 total and a 2-point spread, right? Like,
yeah,
I mean, and Miami's defense is like really fallen off lately. Like, so they're playing at that super fast pace. Their defense is struggling. I think we got to have a ton of interest here in Donovan Mitchell. I think this is a really, really strong Donovan Mitchell spot. We have him projected for 35 minutes and 46 DK points. 15% ownership. I don't anticipate it getting much higher than that. He's like a similar play to me as like Josh Giddey. Like, everyone's going to go stars and scrubs tonight, so they're going to jam in Luka. Well, that's going to leave guys like Mitchell and Giddey, I think, pretty underowned here. So that makes me like them quite a bit for GPPs. Again, I think Mitchell is somebody that can be in your 3-max pool. You could play him in single entry too, just because I really like this spot. I mean, they have one of the best team totals on the entire board here. So, I mean, I really like Mitchell tonight. I guess, the same really could be said for Harden. But I think I like Mitchell a little bit more than Harden, but it's close between those two. I think Bam, especially on FanDuel, Bam is a pretty good play because he still has that power forward eligibility over on that site. I think we can keep Sam Merrill in the pool. 4,700 on FanDuel, 4,600 on DK. Like, I know that it's a back-to-back, but I think this is a pretty good spot for him. So I would be keeping Sam Merrill in the pool. I'd be keeping, obviously, Bam in the pool. Outside of that, though, I think that would really be it for me. I think it's Mitchell for me, Merrill, Bam. I don't know if I'd be getting to any Evan Mobley, but I guess in large field stuff, that's okay. That would only be if I was doing like 10 teams or more. Maybe I'd start getting in like a sprinkle of Evan Mobley.
The only player I'd really consider playing in Miami is Bam. Again, it's the height of his asking price, but they would need his size here, and you can't project it. But I'm telling you, there's a chance he plays 40 minutes here. If if they need him to, and Spo needs him to, and the game's close and all that kind of stuff. Merrill's the interesting flyer for Cleveland. The absence of Strus, I think, benefits him, solidifies him. He should play about 30 minutes or so, and he's relying upon his free ball. If he makes 1 3, he's a bad play. If he makes 5, he's good. And that's it. That's basically how that goes. He'll certainly have his opportunities, though. I think he'll be firing away. And I think I agree with you as far as Mitchell over Harden. Slightly. I would give a little bit more.
Would you be getting Denny Mitchell in 3 max? How would you rank Mitchell versus Giddey?
I'll take Mitchell over Giddey.
Yeah. It's close. I probably would too.
Better game environment. By the way, for Miami, you're talking about their defense. The entire season, the Heat have the 6th best defensive efficiency. That's the entire season, despite playing at their furious pace. 6th best defensive efficiency. Last 15 games, they are 20th. So, and if we go to last 5,
the last 5 games, they've been they probably like 28th?
They're 26th, only because the Pacers, the Wizards, the Kings, and the Bucks exist. But they're the first. Right. They're the first real team. They're the worst real team. If we're not counting the Pacers, not a real team. Wizards, not a real. Kings do not exist. The Bucks, come on, they're not a real team. So the Miami's the worst defensive team amongst the quote unquote real teams. I would take Mitchell over Giddey. I like that environment, and things can get a little bit goofy with Giddey. I don't know, man. I know they've been pushing him, but it's odd. I don't think things are going to get funny with Giddey. I just think it's a better environment. Yeah, it probably won't. It's just I still can't understand but we've been asking, or I've been asking for years, like, what is Chicago doing? It's just that's evergreen. That's an evergreen question. Just what are the Bulls doing? And you could have said that 3 years ago or 5 years ago, or today, and still it's a reasonable question. You're not going to get an answer. 39 minutes last time out for Giddey, 37 the previous game. Okay, let's move along. Spurs and the Grizz. 233.5 is the total here. Spurs are 17-point favorites on the road in Memphis. All right. Do we get any update as far as Memphis stuff? Any news coming on through here, Tim? No. Just Bulls came in. Okoro is in. I don't know if there might have been something else, but nothing big. Simons is out, expected. Yeah. Nemhard, Neesmith, Siakam, all in. And Ayton is a game time decision, but that's a 7:00 game, so that's not that big a deal. Crunch time will know if we don't know. Yeah. Obi Toppin also in 2-4. Yeah, Indiana's like, I guess they're gonna play. I don't want to say they're gonna play straight up. They're gonna start the game straight up. It seems like.
Yeah.
Okay. Hey Tim, before we talk about the analysis of San Antonio and Memphis, we're looking at 11 for Memphis. You know, the usuals are all out. They John Morant, like we knew this, worst kept secret. He's done for the year. Of course he is. The one questionable is Javon Small. He's officially questionable with his back. Wells is out. He's got a great toe too. It's an epidemic with these toes. This one's on the right foot though. Yeah, Aldum, of course, out for the season. San Antonio is missing a key player in De'Aaron Fox. We're expecting a Castle, Vassell, Champagny, Harry Barnes, and Wemby to start. How much do you think? Now, this is like on the ESPN page. How much are tickets? What are tickets? The lowest ticket to get into Memphis tonight is what?
I haven't looked at game tickets in so long, Dean. So the game's in Memphis, and you said the cheapest ones to see Wemby?
Yeah, but this is to see Wemby. I couldn't believe. Well, now I'm kind of framing it, but like you don't get to see Wemby very often. This is like, this is the next big, possibly one of the best players in the history of the league. He's still just 21, 22, whatever he is. It's ridiculous. How much does it cost to get into the grindhouse?
I don't know, man. I don't know. I'm so used to like hugely expensive like New England Mid-Atlantic tickets. I don't know, $20.
It is $6.
Okay.
There's probably some fees and all, the Ticketmaster,
right.
But by the way, not the cheapest ticket on the slate. What's the cheapest ticket on the slate according to ESPN? $5 for Washington.
Utah? Yeah, at least I got that one right.
I couldn't believe it though, because there's $5 Washington, Utah, $6 San Antonio, Memphis, $7 Chicago, Philly. Man. Chicago, $7.
So these are like nosebleed seats.
Well, it's in the building though. Like that shouldn't be that cheap. And then this is the one that's most offensive: Miami and Cleveland, $9. Okay, that seems too cheap. But and this is probably only a couple tickets. Who knows what it is? But I just thought that was pretty interesting.
I'm pretty sure I'm going to be going to a Bruins playoff game. So
you are,
yeah.
Oh, shout out to
assuming they make the playoffs. They're still kind of like I'm pretty sure they're going to, but they're not. It's not guaranteed.
TJ saying, "Oh no, people will be able to afford to go." How terrible! Does it sound like I'm complaining with the prices?
I mean, that sounds like a Canadian take right there. If I've ever heard one. I mean, that's like pure Canadian right there.
It's $5 American to get into Utah. Three loonies or toonies, depending on what you have. So. Yeah, no, I think it's great, but I just couldn't believe it. If I was hanging out in Memphis, how do you not go see Wemby for $6? Whatever, they get you with $20 fees and nonsense, but still, get in the building and watch Wemby. All right. By the way, Wemby is 7'4". How tall is the center for the Grizzlies? OMP 6'7". How's that going to work out? Probably not well. Taj Gibson's maybe 6'10", whatever he gets. I know DG Jackson's got a little bit of height. The Grizzlies, probably the shortest team right now that's being thrown out there these days. And Wemby, again, 7'4". He may be taller. He may be taller than that. I think he's still growing. It's just a matter of how many minutes he gets to play here, right? Because this game probably blows out. Why would they push him? But if he gets anywhere near 31, 30, it feels like a full-on smash. How are you seeing the Spurs and the Grizz?
Yeah, I mean, straight up in a vacuum, they would be fantastic plays. The issue is they are 17, 18-point favorites. We have significant blowout concerns here. Can Wemby put up 65, 70 in 30 minutes? Absolutely, he can. Are we going to be jamming in Luka and Wemby into in our teams? We can. We have the value to do that. Mm-hmm. It's like, would I rather play Luka over Wemby straight up? Yeah, probably. I'd probably rather play Luka. But man, it's close. Like it's definitely. I mean, the Spurs should crush here. But the only question is, are they going to pull back on some of these minutes of them? And then what are we going to be doing with like guys like Dylan Harper and Stephon Castle with no Fox? So it's pretty tough here. I feel like I'm going to be getting to at least some exposure to the San Antonio here. It's likely going to come through Dylan Harper, because I'm probably not going to be playing Luka and Wemby together, but I want to get exposure to San Antonio. So, like I said, it's probably going to be through Dylan Harper. I could see Stephon Castle's ownership really plummeting here. Same thing with Keldon Johnson, both of which I think are really great plays. Just because I think so many people are going to be building into that Washington-Utah game that Castle and Keldon could kind of get overlooked. I would assume Harper is not going to go overlooked. Like, he's going to be pretty chalky, but I think that's okay, but it's Keldon and Castle that I think are going to go relatively lower owned. And same thing with Devin Vassell at 5K. I think all these guys are guys that we should be sprinkling into our GPP lineups, because I think that they are pretty decent plays and they're good, at least somewhat good pivots off of that chalkier Utah-Washington game. And I will mention that Vassell on FanDuel at 5K is a really strong play. I think you could even make the case that he's like cash game viable, because that's a really good price over there for him. He fills that shooting guard small forward spot as well. So I really do like him a ton over on the FanDuel side.
He's 5K both places. I'm sorry, go ahead.
No. It's fine. No, it's like I was just gonna say Memphis is like a way tougher team. Like, I keep trying to play Gigi Jackson. It's okay. Like, his price is going down a little bit. He's 5,200. I just don't see much of a ceiling here. And this is a slate that's full of really good mid-range plays, really good value. I don't see the need to be going to any Memphis here. I'm seeing Walter Clayton popping in some stuff in some optimals, like none of the top ones, but as you kind of like sift through some of the optimal lineups, I'm getting to some Clayton, but I don't really love that. I don't know how you feel about Memphis, but I don't really love them today.
The way we currently have them, they're projected to have 11 players. If they have 11 players, I do not care about Memphis. If they get knocked down to 9 or so, then all of a sudden I'll circle back. We do have Small currently projected to play, and he's questionable. They can certainly rule out one of their G League guys where they have one of their G League guys where they only have so many games to delegate. Repair or Giroux. I'm not sure if they signed it with 10-day or not. But right now, assuming 11 holds, which is probably not going to be the case, because have you met the Memphis? Have you met the Grizzlies? They're probably going to rule somebody out. The other part of it, again, they just keep their players' minutes down. That's just how that goes. Nobody's allowed to play more than 26, 27 unless you have to, because math says you have to when they only have 8 or 9 guys and you play 240 minutes. Jerome, by the way, is not playing tonight. They gave him an ankle, in case you missed that. Love you, TJ and Chapo. TJ now is having to defend Canada. Canada's great. No, I didn't mean to start anything with Canada. I was just having a little bit of fun with loonies and toonies.
We did get 8 now.
Yeah, so I just reran some stuff, and I wanted to see, what we would get when it comes to Jackson Hayes.
Yeah, I mean, he's rating as the second best points per dollar player on the entire slate, behind only Shibwe, who we're about to talk about. It's definitely, and I think that it kind of depends on what we're going to see with Washington with the whole Anthony Gill, Julian Reese situation, because I think those guys would rate out pretty well as well.
You won't know that when you're considering.
When you're considering Jackson Hayes, you're not. Yeah. But I mean, that's kind of the wrinkle of the slate, is because that's like you want to be able to like weigh that situation when you're building your lineups, because like you said, we're not gonna know that whole Gill and Reese, like who's starting for Washington. I mean, I would rather play Shibwe. I mean, you're likely. I mean, Optimals haven't ran any now that we've gotten that new update. Like, you're probably going to be getting a ton of Hayes and Shibwe now. But Yeah. I mean,
I ran
don't know.
I ran 98, 99 DK optimals. I don't know why I picked that number, but that's what I have. I wanted enough of a sample size. Sheboy hit my threshold of 74%. Wemby 40%. This is centers. Of course, you can have some at centers at utility. So Sheboy at 74%, Wemby 40, Hayes 20. So I think the Sheboy Wemby combination is going to be reasonably popular because now we have the salary for Wemby and Luka, which I think is a route that you probably strongly consider on DK with for cash games. If you're still in those cash game streets, I know you dabble a lot in cash game. Are we done with that, Tim? Are we still? How much do you hate yourself? Are you still grinding out cash games right now?
Oh no, we're not done yet.
Oh no, you're funny. You're in the cash game streets tonight. That's amazing.
No, I mean this might be the last night because now baseball starts. But yeah, no, I don't mind it. It's not like. In fact, I mean, there's not as much, I guess, like public dead money or whatever, but
yeah,
you still see like some situations where people like aren't maybe not paying attention to the news as much as they should be because there's just more things going on. There's more moving parts.
For FanDuel, Sheboy is hit my threshold. You can only roster one center over there, so he's hitting 82%. So he's like the large majorities of my lineups. Jalen Duren second, Jackson Hayes 6%. We got Jay Huff for 2%. No Wemby. I think you can play Wemby at power forward though, right? Is he hitting some? Yeah, okay, that's where he's getting.
Yeah,
41%.
Again, a ton of him over on FanDuel just because the slate is so stars and scrubs. It's so easy to play him on FanDuel, but it's kind of a tough decision.
Yabusele officially in. If you didn't get that news, we're talking about the cleanup of Chicago stuff. We got Ayton out. Projections are already adjusted. The last thing I'll say about San Antonio, you were talking a lot about San Antonio. I'll just say that if I don't get the Wemby, like I'm going to play a Spur in every lineup. If it's not Wemby, I'm going to play Vassell. If it's not Vassell, I'm going to play Castle. If it's not Castle, I'm going to get to Harper. Also want to mention we were shopping around Harper much, much, much better on DK than on FanDuel. FanDuel has him over 6K. So he's not like a value play. He's fine, but I think he's much better unleashed on DK ownership.
Harper is definitely the guy on DK, and Vassell is the guy on FanDuel.
Yes,
and probably Wemby's the better play on FanDuel as well.
And the pivot you mentioned, not that it's like somebody that's gonna be lost in the slate, but he's gonna be well behind Harper. I think it's Kelton Big Body Johnson.
It's Big Body. Yeah, we just had a question in chat, like, can we play Big Body in single entry? And I think you can.
I think you can. I think I might. I'm not, if it works out that way, I'm not upset. I'm not going to start over. He's somebody I'd be happy to get to. And I'm happy. I can play two Spurs. I'm not saying, I'm not limiting it to one, but I'm going to have one in every lineup just because, the matchup here against Memphis, now they're potential blowouts, so I don't want to get too crazy here. I don't think I'm going to run backs on Memphis, but we'll see. But we'll circle back. I think GG does project the best now. It can change if we lose somebody, but Wemby against all these 6-footers. I don't know if you saw that image of there's a dude on the Gators that's like 6'7", 8" or something. I think he's a French guy also. He's not good. He's just tall, right? And like there was a dude on the other team like
he's Canadian.
Canadian. Okay, my apologies. It's a great image of this guy who's like 6'8", and he's like staring at. He's like he can't believe what he's staring at. They put him in the game. It was like 110, 55 or something like that. But like imagine being 6'8" and like you're feeling small. But it's pretty cool image from the tournament. Okay, we teased it enough. The people are excited. They want. Okay, Mike in chat's telling me 7'9" versus 6'8". That's what it was. Just a ridiculous image. The Wizards are playing basketball or some semblance of basketball tonight in Utah. Oh, you know what? Before we do this, we should spin the wheel. Is the wheel prepped and ready to go, Steve? I know he teased it a couple times. There it is. Look at Steve. He's all over it. Yeah, look, he just like couldn't move it up just a little bit. You can see the video. He's just like staring at this guy. Like, how was this guy created in a lab or what? So you're a big boy. All right, we are spinning the wheel twice, thrice. We need more likes for thrice, right?
Yeah, we're only at 60.
Oh, that's almost insulting. All right,
that's low.
It's not good.
Carolina guy.
No, I thought we stopped rigging Steve. We gotta bring the guy back out.
I don't know if we've ever had him win the wheel or a show. Actually,
never mind. Shout out to Carolina guy.
He's always in chat, but I don't know if we've ever had him win.
All right, there you go. But nice musical selection. I saw Tim rocking out. I feel like he's a jazz guy. I feel like Tim, sneaky jazz guy. But, there you go. Mariedon? My apologies. How do we pronounce that? Oh, is that Don Yeezy?
Mari Don.
Oh yeah, I didn't. The name was throwing me off. The spelling. Okay, shout out to Don Yeezy. Again, I thought this wasn't rigged. I was told it wasn't rigged, but okay, totally legit. And I'm guessing we didn't get 40 likes in the last 30 seconds or so, and that's it. We're cutting the wheel off. Is that correct?
Giving it a refresh really quick.
Everybody scrambling the last second.
Oof. No, we're only at 71.
Unbelievable. It's, Boo.
All
right. If you're in Discord, Steve's going to hit you up. He'll juice you up and get you some RG Premium. If you want scores and odds, you can get scores and odds at his dealer's choice. But let's knock out these last two games. Let's talk about the Wiz and the Jazz. 239.5 is a total. It's high and it's tight. The Jazz are, I feel like this line has moved up as the day has progressed, if I'm not mistaken. Despite their better efforts, Utah is actually a 4.5-point favorite. We're expecting 10 to dress for Utah, 10 to dress for Washington. We did talk about it earlier on the show. We do have a 1 hedge minute for Svi Mikhailiuk, who's not played basketball, I think, in 3 weeks, I want to say. Kevin Love got to revenge a little bit against Minnesota, but besides that, it's barely played also. So it might be, you talked about this earlier in the show, Tim, it might be an 8-man rotation. Where do we have? We got 1 minute for Svi, 12 for Love. Yeah, Cody Williams also questionable, so they could get knocked down to 9 live bodies, right? Keep an eye on that. That certainly would, make the rotation even more condensed. We've seen the rise of Ace Bailey lately. The price has gone up too, but man, 37 points in the bucket last game. The usage has been completely ridiculous as well. He seems to be tank-proof. They just want to develop him, I guess. 29 usage last game, 32, 36, 26 his last 4 games. He's firing away a ton as far as the Wizards. Well, I should tell you the body parts. Yeah, Bilal Coulibaly, kind of surprisingly, he's available, right? He's got that bursitis. They're going to let him play, apparently. For how long? I don't know. I can't make any promises. Alex Sarr has got another guy, Tim. I told you it's an epidemic. He's got a big toe also. So he cannot play. Vukcevic was rolled out today. So we're not sure who's starting. We're currently projecting Anthony Gill, probably some combination of Anthony Gill and Julian Reese. Reese of note on DK because he's 3K. I think that's pretty interesting. And Filipowski, we mentioned before, they gave him the Utah flu. You can't play this. Come on, Philip. Kyle, don't even bother coming to the arena. You're not allowed to play against the Wizards. So he's out, and we're expecting Oscar Tshiebwe to draw the start. All right, get in the muck, get in the mire, get in the mud. Talk to me about the Wizards and the Jazz.
Yeah, we're going to be getting to a ton of both these teams on both sites. I would say that you're definitely going to be starting off. We see Noto in lineup HQ, cord Ace Bailey. He cord Kennedy Chandler as well. Both those guys, I think we got to be starting off with here. Absolutely love both of those guys. EJ Harkless as well. Noto has cord. I think he's completely fine. I completely understand why he'd be a core play. Bailey and Chandler are definitely 1A and 1B for me. But you're going to be playing tons of pieces of Utah and tons of pieces of this game. It's definitely, like I said, it's definitely going to be Chandler and Bailey for me. And then probably my third for me would be Tshiebwe at 3,700. So those would be my first 3 Utah in. I think you're going to be getting to a ton of these guys naturally. What would you say, min 3, max 14 as a rule?
Yeah. I mean, especially if Cody Williams gets ruled out, like it's going to be hard. They're cheap and they're playing Washington and they kind of have to play. It's just, this is what it is. They're not necessarily the greatest basketball players, but it doesn't matter. I'm seeing optimals 3, 4. This is on DK. 4, this is Utah. 4. I won't go 5. I think I'll leave the light on for 4, right? Especially if Cody Williams is ruled out. But yeah, I think I'm gonna 3, at least 2, probably 3. I think it's 3 or 4. Washington to a lesser extent. I'm a little bit concerned about Koulibaly. I don't know how we've seen games where he disappears. He's coming to this game with the toe. I don't know. Watkins projects pretty good. Carlton Carrington projects well as well. I'm a little bit more interested in Utah, especially considering, again, they have 10. It might get knocked down to 9. We don't know how much Speed's going to play. We don't know how much Love's going to play. I just think that rotation's a little bit more secure. Yeah. Is that where you're at, 3 or 4, Jasmine?
Yeah, I'm leaning 3. I think that's where I would cap it at. But yeah, I could, maybe if you're building out more teams, you can get to 4, but I think I'm going to be capping it at 3. In terms of my favorite Washington piece, I think it's Bub. Koulibaly's definitely got to be in the conversation as well. I do agree with you, though, that if, given a side of this game, I prefer Utah a lot more. Right now we have Anthony Gill projected to start. It wouldn't shock me if Reese got the start. So that's something to just keep an eye out. It's definitely something. But there's other guys for Washington that we can get exposure to in GPPs, whether it be Sharif Cooper, Will Riley, Jameer Watkins, all those guys. I think we can get pieces of in a 20 set, in a 3 max stuff. I think personally, unless we know. Unless you want to take a chance that Reese is starting, because he would definitely be in the single entry pool if we knew he was starting. But I think that Koulibaly and Carrington right now are the only guys that I'm considering in a single entry for Washington.
Current are minutes. We currently have Williams at 33 minutes, Carrington on Washington with 33, Bailey 32. Again, he's been pretty much tank proof. Harkless 32. Mbang, that is how you pronounce that. I gave that a Google. He's projected for 31 minutes. It's projected. It pronounces the way I would kind of guess. And Chandler, 31 minutes for Chandler. It seems like he's a little bit underpriced. There's a lot of value plays here. Are you leaving a light on for the Washington center stuff? Gill versus Reese. I'm more
in a way, Dean. In a way, I am. Maybe not directly like the way that you're referring to, but in a way I am, because I don't think I'm going to play Jackson Hayes. So I'm just going to keep. I'm going to keep some more roster spots open, specifically, a center spot. So I just want to give myself more flexibility later in the slate. If Hayes beats me, he beats me. But I think that's the route that I'm going to be going, at least in single entry 3 max stuff. In cash, I might play Hayes. I'm not 100% sure yet. But I think in single entry stuff, I'm just going to stay away from him and keep more roster spots flexible.
Our guy, Mr. Richard in chat, says 55% Oscar. I don't know if I'm going to play him with single entry. I mean, assuming Sheway starts, and I don't really know why he wouldn't unless something weird happens. I'm just playing Oscar Sheway. He's a good fantasy minute player. And he's facing Washington. It's they're dreadful. They're even worse when it comes to centers. I'm just playing him, and it sounds like you're playing him as well.
I am playing him.
Rockets, Minnesota. Crunch time coming in here in a second. This is the last game. This is the back half of the ESPN doubleheader. 222.5 is the total. Minnesota is a 2-point dog here at home. They are still without Ant. I would assume was officially questionable as well, which is of note, unless that has changed. I don't think it has. And Houston, their injury report's basically been the same for a while now. Nothing new. FEV, Steven Adams, Otherwise, they are clean. They're good to go. We're seeing Tari Eason get worse and worse by the day. I thought that DiVincenzo, although he hasn't really benefited from Ant being out, in theory, he should, especially if DeSumo doesn't play. He's somebody that's pretty interesting, especially on FanDuel. He's 5'8" on DK. FanDuel, I think, is like 5'4", 5'3". Pivoting right now. He's 5'4". Don't really like to pick on Houston necessarily, but I think DiVincenzo is probably my favorite point per dollar play. But this game, mostly ignored, despite Şengün. He's back. He had that issue with his back. He was out for some games. He put up a 70 burger the other day, I believe. Gobert, not necessarily the best matchup, but these Rockets can get.
You and Chop were super high on him, and I should have listened, but I didn't.
I think Chop was even given the bigger sell. Yeah. He definitely had a big bounce back game. He's not going to get played. Just not going to get played on this slate. We talked about it. Chibwe is taking a big chunk. If you're spending all the way up, you're spending all the way up for Wemby. He's going to be like 2%, Şengün. I think you certainly get over that if you're running 150 in tournaments, but really hard to get to for single entry. How do you feel about the Rockets and Minnesota?
Yeah, this is a really tough game to build into. Definitely not one of my least favorite games here. I think, really it's not a game that's really on the 3 max single entry radar. I'm fine if you want to get a little overweight on Reed Shepherd. Şengün is fine. But, like you said, nobody's going to be playing him. So in large field stuff, I completely get it. But in this single entry 3 max stuff, he's just not somebody that I'm looking to build into. Really, even if IU sits, this doesn't really change a whole heck of a lot for me. DiVincenzo's okay, but he's not somebody I'm not going to be altering my teams to build into this, because the Washington Utah game, the San Antonio Memphis game, are so much better than this game. So really, this is probably going to be a cross off for me.
I guess Bones would get a little bit of a bump as well for Minnesota. We talked about Eason being bad. Nas has been bad for a while now too. He's another guy. He was dealing with a couple injuries. He was playing with a shoulder. I think he was playing with a foot. But in theory, isn't it just weird that Ant's out and we don't care? It's just, it just seems odd.
It's it's a pretty close spread, but it's just they're not priced great.
Yeah. Do we have an if then for DeSumo? I'm trying to find one. I don't know if we have that set up. I don't think we do.
I don't think we do.
Yeah, I would imagine DiVincenzo will get a little bit of a bump. I would imagine that maybe slow-mo. Not that you're playing slow-mo. No. I think Bones. I think Bones is the guy that would kind of benefit as well. Possibly get him the 30 minutes or so. Just interesting. And I don't know. I don't have a good read as far as DeSumo playing or not. I have no clue. We should have crunch time coming in here soon. You know what? I had to scroll down and I didn't see they've been here for a couple minutes, hanging out in the bullpen. Let's do it. Oh, I need your plum. Who is your plum play?
Ooh, all right. I'm gonna go with Donovan Mitchell.
I like it. All right, let's do it. Let's see what's the transition. We have Notorious, Noto, as well as TJ. TJ Zwarych, one of the greatest DFS players in all of Saskatchewan, Canada. It is crunch time. It's starting right now. What's up, boys? TJ, Noto, TJ, how are things?
Things are good. Things are busy. It's been an exciting week of fantasy sports for me. I took down my NBA home league, and then just last night I did my first ever MLB season long draft. So fun things happening.
First ever or first this season?
First ever. I've never done MLB season long before.
You've never done an MLB season long? That's wild. That's strange. I'm surprised. All right. How was it? You turn it out right? You like your team?
Good. Feel like my team's really good. 10 teams. I had the turn, and I used it on Paul Skeens, Jose Ramirez. Managed to get Chris Sale in the next turnaround. And then who was the other really good? Oh, and Yamamoto. So loaded up on starting.
3 of your first 4 picks pitchers?
Oh yeah.
Okay. Bold strategy. And how did J-Ram drop to 10? That's not, I don't know who you're playing with, but that's incorrect.
I know. That's why I was excited.
They're not playing. I don't know. I want to get in that league next year. Noto, does Noto play season-long baseball? I'm going to say you once did, but you no longer do.
I've never done season-long baseball.
Okay. Do you feel like you're missing out? Did TJ's excitement sell you?
I mean, he does seem excited, so I think it helps with the research front, getting ready for DFS too. So maybe I should try it next year.
I reached out to Cheese, reached out to Cardi. I'm feeling like I got a real leg up on my competitors.
You could have reached out to me, T. I mean, I'm not saying you should have, but I understand where I'm in that hierarchy.
Hey, I dropped in a group chat you're in. If anybody had any tips,
and I know Tim's got the season long going as well too. Dynasty.
Yeah, I'm in my very first Dynasty league ever.
There you go. Give me a final score, Giants Yankees tonight, Tim. What do you got? Final score. There's baseball happening.
5-3 Yankees, Dean.
Ooh, 5-3 Yankees. Max Fried, I believe, was on the bump, if I'm not mistaken. All right, let's do it. Let's talk some basketball with Crunch Time. You got TJ, you have Noto, myself, and Tim. We appreciate y'all hitting that like button on your way out in 40 minutes. Also, noon tomorrow, myself, Derek Hardy, Dave Potts, talking baseball all the way up to lock. But we're talking basketball right now. It's Crunch Time. It's TJ. It's all yours, TJ.
What's up, everyone? Welcome to NBA Crunch Time. Got myself and Noto ready to take you all the way up to lock. Noto, before we talk any basketball, the people want to know, have you watched Heat yet?
Yeah, apologies to everyone out there. Have not watched the movie yet. We get like 10 minutes of a show before the baby's crying or one of the boys is downstairs. So, man, it's going to be a long ride, but we're going to get there, and I'm excited for it. It's a good one. I don't even know what it's about.
It's about heat. It's about heat.
Hot outside.
It's hot, yeah. Looking forward for you to report back, hear your thoughts on that one. But until then, we got an NBA slate to break down. It's the Jazz, it's the Spurs, and a little bit of Wizards and Lakers. Done.
Much. Yeah.
Done. Move on to the next one. We'll go position by position on DraftKings. Then we'll do FanDuel. We'll take your questions after that. I'll go to the RotoGrinders live stream Discord first. I'll go to the YouTube chat second. YouTube, all we ask is that you hit that like button. No one wanted to hit it on Grinders Live. I assume that's because you were waiting until crunch time to hit the like button. No, Dean, I have not been exposed for not seeing Heat. I was just making a joke, but that was one of the movies that I have just watched for the first time in the last year, Dean, because we talked about it together. Unbelievable. He doesn't pay attention to me. But let's start talking on DraftKings first, or feel free to start with a little overview before we get into positions.
I think you covered the overview pretty well. Playing a bunch of Jazz, might play a Washington player or two. Love the Spurs without De'Aaron Fox and a nice matchup against Memphis. And then, I don't mind the Lakers. And there's not a lot of injuries that we're still waiting for, which is kind of nice. Dosunmu's questionable. Cody Williams is questionable. Javon Small is questionable. Everyone else, I guess Embiid's still questionable as well. So we got some news, but feel pretty good about this slate. And this is a rare night where I think the Jazz are going to win, and I think they're okay with winning.
Yeah, my top 13 highest owned plays are all from those four teams. It is the number, my 14th highest owned at 19% is Danis Jenkins. I heard it was Danis. I thought it was Danis. I heard it was Danis. Jenkins.
Yeah, Beer told us all that last night.
Was that Beer? I couldn't remember where I heard that from, but yeah, that was Beer last night who said it. He's my 14th highest owned player, and that is the first one outside of Jazz, Wizards, Lakers, Spurs that I'm going to be getting to today. But let's start going position by position here, starting at the point guard. This is like point guard and center are both stupidly stacked today. It feels like I know this is like Tank City, but it feels like we're in the golden age of NBA DFS from earlier in the year where it's just like, okay, all the point guards, all the centers, I wish I could play on fantasy draft.
Yeah, that's how it is most slates, but I don't know. I mean, and we're also at the point of the season where guys we hadn't heard of 2 weeks ago are like must plays, like Kennedy Chandler. So I gotta love this point of the season for sure. I guess we'll start there. Love him tonight. He's been playing well, 38, 34, 29 in his last 3 games. Obviously, they're extremely shorthanded in the backcourt. Great matchup at home against Washington. So I have him tagged as a core play. Also going to play EJ Harkless. Like, I would rather not pick and choose between these Jazz guys. I just kind of want to play them all because the matchup's so good. And again, they can win tonight's game, and it's not going to impact where they are in the standings. Right now, they're the 5th worst team. They can win. Doesn't change that. So I do think they're going to pick up a win tonight at home. So I like both Harkless and Chandler. But then you have Luka. Interested to hear your thoughts on Luka versus Wemby tonight. I slightly prefer Wemby, but man, both are in pretty great spots. Dylan Harper without De'Aaron Fox, I think makes a lot of sense. He's been playing really well the last couple games, and now he's going to get a boost in minutes. We have him projected for 29 minutes against Memphis. Sign me up for that. Then you can have a lot of guys that go under the radar a little bit. Bub Carrington, Josh Giddey, Edgecombe has been playing really well. We'll still wait and see on Embiid, but he projects well right now with Embiid in the projections. So I like him a little bit. You talked about Danis Jenkins. If you want to get a little bit different on the Jazz, you got Bez Bang down there at 4,800. So I like the point guard position quite a bit. I'm going to eat a lot of chalk with the top 4 and Doncic, Chandler, Harper, and Harkless.
Yeah, I'm going to be doing that as well. Like I slightly prefer Luka to Wemby, but I'm not taking any big stands. I have 49% Wemby and 49% Luka. Try and get overweight on both of them in my large field tournaments just because we have so much value. And then in single entry, I chose Luka. But really, it's whichever one fits your lineup best today because they're both in such great spots. I have 51% Chandler, 51% Harper, 49% Luka. That's where I'm going to be going really heavy. And then Harkless is kind of in that next tier for me with Carrington and Jenkins. Outside of that is just like GPP sprinkles. I like Austin Reeves for large field tournaments. Giddey's fine. Edgecombe. I'm kind of surprised Edgecombe is still projecting for this much ownership. I didn't really think that was going to be the case, but I like him less at the ownership than I thought I thought he was going to be a low-owned GPP play. And then Tyler Hero is another guy that I don't mind throwing out there for large field stuff, but mainly Chandler, Harper, Doncic, Harkless, like you said. Shooting guard, playing a lot of Dylan Harper here as well. I'm just absolutely loading up on Keldon Johnson today. I have like 50% of him. And Stephon Castle as well, 40%. No De'Aaron Fox. I just want to get as much of these guys as I possibly can. Who are you playing at shooting guard today?
Keldon Johnson's a tough one. I never get the guy right. In theory, he should be a strong play without Fox. He's played well the last couple games. Nice matchup against Memphis, like we talked about. And 4,100, that's the cheapest he's been in a while. So I don't mind that. I like the Castle play quite a bit. Probably my favorite Washington guy is Jameer Watkins. He's been playing well when, 25, 26, 30 minutes. So if he gets a few extras tonight against the Jazz, I think he's going to have a big game. You have Dylan Harper, Harkless here as well. So if you want to load up on the point guards, use one of those 2 at shooting guard. And then I'm just not a Donovan Mitchell believer when James Harden is active. Like, I went and ran the numbers. So in 15 games together, Harden has averaged 41 fantasy points with Mitchell, and then Mitchell's averaged 43 fantasy points with Harden. So they just eat into each other's upside. I know it's a pace-up game. I know, maybe one of them could get there, but I much prefer Luka and Wemby if I'm spending up tonight. And maybe a little Sam Merrill love in large field tournaments. He's been playing well. They're missing a couple guys too, so I think he could see 30-plus minutes against Miami.
I like that a lot. I have a fair amount of Sam Merrill as well. I'll throw out just like large field stuff. Bez and Bang, I'm getting to a little bit. And I don't think it's crazy to play some Bones Highland today with Minnesota without Anthony Edwards. Bones has been playing really, really well. But large field only stuff, sticking with those main guys for the smaller field. Who do you like at small forward?
All right. So Ace Bailey is my favorite. The dude's just been on fire over the last 3 games, 57, 51, and 60 fantasy points. Like, if you would have told me that 2 months ago, I wouldn't have believed you. He's been getting better and better throughout the course of the season. They're missing pretty much everyone, and now he gets a home matchup against Washington. Like, the fact that they're missing their top 8 guys, something like that, and they still have an implied total of 123 points kind of says a lot about Washington. And maybe a lot about, how good the backups are for Utah. So I like him quite a bit. Koulibaly's interesting as well. Again, I think Jameer Watkins is my favorite play from Washington, but Koulibaly's been playing well. He was on the injury report earlier, but he's going to play tonight. I think Conchar is a way to get a little bit different. He's 4K. He's probably going to see 25 minutes, maybe more if Cody Williams ends up being out. And what are you going to do with Cody Williams? Because he went on a tear there for a little bit and then didn't play the other night. So he's probably going to be low owned with that questionable tag.
So I have none right now, but I have so many Jazz players. Like I put a minimum 2, maximum 4 in my 150 build. And so I'm going to have so many Jazz players, so many people in that late set of games that if he gets ruled in, I probably will re-add him to my pool and get a little bit of exposure. But as of right now, I don't have any.
Yeah, I'm kind of like the lineup that I have right now. When I optimize it, it threw him in there. So I'm probably not going to get there because I don't want to have to worry about the late swap if he ends up being out. So I'll probably plan for him being out and then, maybe get him in if he ends up playing. But I'm kind of with you. Anyone else that you like? Like, I don't love Jaylen Brown tonight. Don't love Buzelis. Anybody else you like?
Joel Embiid just officially got ruled in. Joel Embiid available to play. None of the sneaky guys I like a ton. I don't mind Champagny for the Spurs just because Champagny and Vassell are the two guys that I'm going quite overweight on. They're the two not so popular guys for the Spurs that I'm going to be playing a lot of today. And I have about 20% Vassell, 15% Champagny. I like both of them for large field tournaments a fair amount. I'm actually playing a little bit of Carter Bryant as well, the $3,100 full punt at small forward for the Spurs. He's been getting up near 20 minutes a lot recently, and he's so cheap. If he gets you 20 points, you're probably okay with it. Although there's so much value on this slate, maybe you're not. I have 5% each of Buzelis, Kevin Durant, Paul George in his first game back, but those are just dart throws, not anybody I'm overly confident with. Power forward, you can play Ace Bailey here as well. You can play Conchar here as well. After that, it kind of falls off a cliff. Like I am playing some Champagny. I hate the idea of chalk GG Jackson. I am getting to a little bit of him, but projecting, 25, 30% ownership because it's a bit of a weak position. Don't love that. Don't love the Anthony Gill chalk either. That's somewhere I want to be underweight too. I'd rather, I have a sneaky suspicion that we're actually going to get Julian Reese starting instead of Anthony Gill today. And so I'm kind of prepared to turn all of my Gill exposure into Julian Reese and then probably bump up a little bit more there as well. And so I am taking a couple ugly shots on punts here, like Blake Hinson, Tyler Burton, Jared Vanderbilt. But for the most part, this is just going to be where I'm playing Ace Bailey.
Yeah, I wanted to talk about the Reese situation because we have seen him start with Vucevic out or Vucevic out. So, I mean, if he starts, we've seen him play pretty big minutes, and he's pretty cheap once again. We only have him projected for 11 minutes right now, but again, that's depending on whether he starts or comes off the bench. But if Gill ends up starting, it's hard not to like him on a per dollar perspective for single entry, small field stuff, even cash games. But for large field, I get the fade. Like he probably is not going to burn you if he gets you 20 to 25. But I'm with you. I'm going to play Ace Bailey at power forward, then kind of figure the rest out from there. Not too interested in GG Jackson. Conchar's fine. I like Mobley as like a differentiator. I typically like him more than Harden and Mitchell, at least when all three of them are active, because he has been a little bit shown more upside. So don't mind going there. We didn't talk about Will Riley at all. I think he's a little bit interesting against the Jazz if you want to get different in that game. But, man, power forward is pretty ugly tonight.
Yeah, it really, really is. Anybody who has power forward eligibility, that is kind of where I want to play them. So Bailey from the small forward. And then it's the same as the centers, because center, I don't have a big pool at the position, but it's a really, really strong pool we got Oscar Tshiebwe, cheap value, strong point per minute producer. We have Victor Wembanyama as an incredible spend up. We have Jackson Hayes projecting super well. And then there are a lot of other tournament plays I don't mind, like Bam Adebayo, Jalen Duren, Rudy Gobert. I think all these guys are interesting tonight. And then, like we talked about, that Julian Reese scenario. He might start. He might come off the bench. He might not be active. We got to wait for the news on that one. And honestly, if he doesn't start, I don't think you want to get there at all. but still, he could have a good game off the bench. But you got to make sure and check that he's actually active, because he still is on that two-way contract. So pay attention to those RotoGrinders alerts and notifications after walk here today. But who do you like at center?
Yeah, I do wish Wembanyama was power forward eligible on DraftKings. That would certainly be nice, because I do like a lot of the cheaper centers. Tshiebwe is probably my favorite. If we get the news that Reese is starting, do you like Tshiebwe or Reese better?
I think still Tshiebwe, but I would like Reese more than Jackson Hayes, which is why I'm light on Jackson Hayes today.
Yeah, I was just thinking, because they're in that same game. So if you do get that news, you'll have the option to switch if you want. I think I still prefer Tshiebwe as well, but certainly interesting. And then love Wemby tonight, like I talked about. Memphis just doesn't have any bigs. They're without Fox. The price point's certainly fine at 11.3. I would say his floor is probably a little bit lower than Luka's, but I think the two have similar ceilings. And then Wemby's just a little bit cheaper. Love the Duren call. He sees such big usage and fantasy point per minute boost without Cunningham on the floor. You get that nice matchup against Atlanta too, and 11% ownership on a different slate. He could be, 40% ownership. So I like Duren quite a bit, but for single entry, I'm probably just going to play Wemby and Tshiebwe. I think you're on mute.
Whoops. Those are the guys I'm playing the most as well. Still going to get to some Jackson Hayes, but I'm going to be under on what the field is currently projecting 40%. I could see it going up a little bit higher than that as well. So I'm definitely going to be under on that number. And I'm with the guys on the previous show, Tim, Dean. I think in a single entry scenario, I'd want to wait on Hayes as well and just wait for the news, omit Hayes and wait for that news a little bit more. Before we switch over to FanDuel, I want to tell you about Pick Labs. It's the newest RotoGrinders feature that lets you scan the best player prop and pick 'em bets in seconds. Everything's broken down for you, from edges and win rates to value. It's a clean board showing which plays actually stand out across sportsbooks and sites like Underdog and Prize Picks. When you see something you like, Pick Labs builds a slip and sends it straight to the book of your choice. Now including MLB picks. You can find Pick Labs at rotogrinders.com/picklabs. Plus, speaking of baseball, let's play ball. MLB is back, and we're giving you a discount on your first month of Combo Pro, $64.99, the same price as MLB alone, which will renew at $119.99 after your first month. This includes Plate IQ, SimLabs, Lineup HQ, premium articles, and more. May as well get yourself access to all the sports except NASCAR instead of just baseball with that deal. But if you are playing baseball, you can get the Bat X projections by Derek Carty. They're available now for 2026 as a separate add-on subscription. New this year, the Bat will also include Carty's MLB betting picks. So make sure you check that out. All right.
Question for you.
Hit me.
I know you read the book. Have you seen Project Hail Mary movie yet?
Yes.
What'd you think?
Go see it on as big of a screen you can. It is absolutely beautiful. It is really, really good. All of my nitpicks and qualms are things that I really like from the book that didn't get included, that I wish would have gotten included. But as like just the movie itself, especially if you haven't read the book, I like near 10 out of 10 film for me. Like really, really good.
Yep, had the same thoughts. Love the book. The thing about reading the book is like you have your idea of what everything is going to look like, and then it's a little different. But I thought it was great. So I agree with you.
They nailed all the stuff they needed to nail. There was just like a couple of the sciencey storylines that I was like, oh, that was cool. I wish that was included, but didn't get in there. Alas, go see Project Hail Mary if you haven't already. Check out our review over at Agents of Fandom for it too.
There you go.
Noto, for FanDuel point guard, who do you like?
All right, going to be a lot of the same names that we talked about on DraftKings. Kennedy Chandler, a little bit more expensive over here. So $5,800, you actually at least have to think about rostering him, but still my favorite play at point guard there. Same with Dylan Harper, more expensive on FanDuel, so you're going to get lower ownership. We have him at 13% right now. I still think he can get 40 in this matchup without De'Aaron Fox. So I still like Dylan Harper. Bub Carrington's going to be chalk. I typically like to play like the lower owned Washington guys because whenever one of them is the chalk, they just tend to struggle for whatever reason. It's just they're everything's so inconsistent with their rotation, with their individual players that I hate eating the chalk with Washington, but I get it with Bub Carrington. I like Luka here. And then I do want to keep a light on for Bones Highland. Like if Io ends up being out, I think Bones could run into 30 minutes in that nice matchup against Houston, or tough match against Houston, but nice spot without Anthony Edwards too.
Agreed. I did have a question in chat that I wanted to shout out Jason in chat. Amaze. We got some Project Hail Mary fans here. I love it. I did see a question I wanted to address because it was FanDuel right around these positions. How would you rank Bub Carrington, Watkins, and Vassell over here?
I'm going to go Watkins, Vassell, and then Bub.
I think I like Vassell, Bub, then Watkins, I think. I'm a big Vassell guy today, though. That is one of the bigger stands I'm taking. Obviously, a little bit cheaper here on FanDuel as well. Take us over to shooting guard.
Yeah, so similar names as shooting guard. You got Harper here, Donovan Mitchell here. Again, I'm going to be underweight on Mitchell. I just don't love his upside when Harden's active. So I like Harkless. He should see 30-plus minutes in the nice matchup at home against Washington. Ace Bailey, similar to Kennedy Chandler in that you have to think about him a little bit harder on FanDuel because he is more expensive. He's 8.2K, but still one of my favorite plays on the board. I have both of those Jazz guys tagged as core plays on both FanDuel and DraftKings. Jameer Watkins, again, probably my favorite play from Washington, but certainly no issue with Vassell either at 5K. And then, yeah, again, I like Sam Merrill as a way to get a little bit different at shooting guard. He's been playing great. He would be popular on most slates, but the fact that, guard's so stacked, I think he's going to fly under the radar tonight.
No disagreements there. I feel like I just don't have much to say on FanDuel because it's the same as DraftKings. Like, obviously, we have Vassell less expensive, Harper more expensive, but it's still those same four teams I'm looking to target. Ace Bailey's priced up, but I'm still going to be playing an absolute ton of them. And then we had talked some Sam Merrill. Really like him as a salary saver today. I think my favorite tournament play at this position for FanDuel probably is Stephon Castle, just because he is projecting for that sub 20% ownership. Take me over to small forward.
Yeah, so this is an interesting position. I do like spending up on Ace Bailey. I want to get your take on Paul George. He's not going to make my single entry build, but we haven't projected for 30 minutes at home against the Bulls, obviously coming off that suspension. I haven't seen him in a couple months, but man, 2 months ago, if he was this price and playing the Bulls, we'd probably have some interest to 6.7. Koulibaly is going to be popular. I'm not a Laravia guy. Like, I know he should see big minutes, but man, that game log is so bad. He's top 20 fantasy points once in like 3 weeks. So if he burns me, so be it. I'd rather play Ace Bailey, Conchar, even Will Riley I'd rather play instead of Laravia. And then I talked about Sam Merrill. I like him quite a bit too.
Koulibaly at 6,300, definitely among the guys that I'd be looking to get underweight on today. Like, just 30+% ownership, dealing with a little bit of injury. I feel like any type of little injury that is a reason for a tanking team to just like dock your minutes at any sign of discomfort. So Koulibaly is certainly a guy I'm looking to get underweight to today. I'm shocked Devin Vassell is projecting for such low ownership over here on FanDuel. I thought he was going to be way higher, where the rest of these, like most of these Jazz and Spurs, are priced up, and he's not. But alas, really, really like him for tournaments. Mentioned Austin Reeves as well. Like him a lot in GPPs. Power forward, who you got?
Sorry, I keep clicking out of the links and then. Okay, power forward. Love Wemby tonight, and you can play him power forward on FanDuel. So he's my favorite spend. Can you build lineups with Wemby and Luka? I haven't tried on FanDuel.
While you break down power forward, I'm going to try it.
Because you're probably skipping out on a lot of the strong mid-range guys from Utah, but it would be interesting if you can make it work. And then Koulibaly, I'm with you. Like, these guys on Washington, if they're going to be popular, I'd rather just pivot to somebody else. So I'm going to be underweight on him. I would, like, if this game was played 10 times, I think Will Riley outscores Koulibaly 4 times maybe, and you're getting him at a third of the ownership. So give me Will Riley over Koulibaly tonight. Wemby's my favorite, and then it's kind of ugly after that. Like, I can get down with Bam. Paul George, again, kind of a tough click in his first game in 2 months. So I'm kind of struggling here after Wemby.
It is pretty easy to play both of them, especially once you plug in like Chibwe and Harkless and Chandler and one of the Washington guards. It's not hard. It's not hard to get there whatsoever with both of them today. You basically just have to sacrifice like
Ace Bailey.
Ace Bailey is the biggest one. But other than that, I'm with you. Really, really like Wemby over here where you can play him at power forward. I don't hate the idea of if I was playing 3 lineups today, I'd probably on FanDuel, I'd probably have 1 Luka, 1 Wemby, 1 both would probably be the way that I'd go about trying to build that. It does kind of fall off pretty quick. I will say, like, going back to that Gil Reese situation, Gil projects pretty okay right now as a value. But if you get Julian Reese active and starting $4,200 with power forward eligibility, I think becomes a really strong value play today. Center, we have Shibwe. We have Hayes. Same price. We both like Shibwe better a little bit. Hayes here is projecting for like half the ownership, though, which I find interesting. I still think even ownership considered between the two of them, I prefer Shibwe.
Yeah, I think I do too. And I think for me, if I'm playing one lineup on FanDuel, you put in Tshiebwe, and then if you need to, make up points, just pivot to Anthony Gill because he's projecting for a fifth of the ownership, and they're in that same game. So if you are trailing heading into those late games, I think you just make that pivot rather than worrying about Jackson Hayes. And again, I like Wemby more at power forward. I think Duran's probably my favorite tournament play on FanDuel because it's easier to fit him. And he's just nobody's going to play him because everyone's going to, go down to one of the value guys. So I like Duran quite a bit. That's really it at center for me.
Dylan Harper will start today, and then there's some people talking about it in chat earlier, but Dean Wade hurt his ankle in warm-up, and he has been officially downgraded to questionable. He doesn't really do anything, so I don't know how big of a deal that's going to be, but maybe opens up a couple extra minutes for some of those ancillary Cleveland guys. I already had 51% Harper. I kind of want to bump that even higher now.
Yeah, on DraftKings for sure.
Yeah, I'm going to bump that up to at least 70% of him right now just because this is just an absolute smash spot for him. Bump a couple other things up. There we go. Time for some questions. I'll be going to the RotoGrinders live stream Discord chat first. I'll be going to the YouTube chat second. YouTube, make sure you are hitting that like button for us. It's all we ask. Free content. All we ask that we give that like button a little click. Before we do, who is your slate breaker tonight? Who do you got taking everything down?
I mean, I like Ace Bailey the most, but he's probably too chalky for this question. Do you have one while I think about it?
My chalky one is Harper. He's the guy that I'm going to be going super overweight with, but getting a little bit sneakier, I will say Devin Vassell. I'm just going super mega heavy on the Spurs and Jazz today, and Vassell is one of my favorite sneakier ways to do that.
I like it. All right, I'm going to go Jameer Watkins as my slate breaker.
All right, I like it. Let's start taking some questions here. We got about 13 minutes left until lock. Favorite FanDuel GPP spend up, and also who is your favorite low-owned sneaky play today? Favorite spend up on FanDuel? I feel like that was Wemby. I don't know why I'm trying to answer your question. Who do you got?
Yeah, it's Wemby if we're talking just in chalky, but if you want a lower owned guy, I like Duran quite a bit, and I love that we get this question every day. Shout out to loyal viewer. And then for the value, I'll go Jameer Watkins.
Shout out to Carolina guy, always here hanging out with us. DK single entry. Do you want Donovan Mitchell and Gill, Koulibaly and Bailey, or Harkless and Bailey? That's Harkless and Bailey for me. How about you?
Sorry, read that again.
Mitchell and Gill.
Okay.
Koulibaly Bailey, or Harkless Bailey?
Yeah, I'm going to go Harkless Bailey.
Same side as me as well. FanDuel straight up. Conchar and Bam, or Ace Bailey and Gigi Jackson?
Not huge on Gigi Jackson tonight, but I'm going to go number 2.
Agreed once again. No notes. Let's switch over to the YouTube chat. I see some more people firing off some typing in Discord, so I'll make sure to check back here shortly. 5,800 left for a forward on DK. Who do you got?
Pull it up real quick. All right, so Gigi Jackson projects the best. But if you're playing a lot of Utah guys like myself, I like going Will Riley.
Don't hate that idea one bit. What are your thoughts on Naz Reid and Anthony Gill as a power forward pairing on FanDuel?
Naz isn't a guy that I was really looking at. But I mean, he can always get there. He just hasn't shown a ton upside recently. And then you get that tough matchup against Houston too. So I do like I'm fine with Gill, but I'm probably not going to be on Reed. I think you just play Wemby and power forward on FanDuel.
I will say if you're playing Gill, make sure you swap that to Julian Reese if Julian Reese happens to be the one starting. Let's see here. I want to make sure I didn't miss anything up at the beginning. Can you play Lou Dort at 3-6? He's starting. No, Lou Dort is absolutely incredible defensively. Not somebody you want to be playing offensively on your fantasy team. Can I fade all the Spurs, even Wemby? What do you think?
I'm trying to think of a scenario where that works. Like, even if they win by 30, I think like Dylan Harper's probably going to get there. One of the value guys is going to get there. Keldon Johnson maybe. So I would not fade the Spurs completely.
Noto and TJ, Giddey or Donovan Mitchell at shooting guard for FanDuel single entry GPP?
Giddey and who?
Or Donovan Mitchell.
I mean, I guess I'll go Giddey, but man, his floor is really low compared to Donovan's, but I'll go Giddey.
It's one of those things where it's like, what's your lineup? What's your format? Is it a top heavy contest? Is it a spread out contest? Because if it's spread out, you might want that 45 points from Donovan Mitchell and just lock it in. Where Giddey, it's like you're going to get 30 or you're going to get 60. And there's not like a whole lot in between. So it depends a lot on your payout structure. Infinite asking, is Oscar Tshiebwe a good cash play for FanDuel? I'll take it one step further. I'd say he's a must play for FanDuel cash. Absolutely a really strong play. I think you got to get to him there. For FanDuel, is it overthinking to think there is a reason concern for Wemby to hit his ceiling due to Memphis being so bad and this not being competitive?
For sure. That's the worry. But I mean, we've seen him get 60 in like 24 minutes when he was first coming back from injury. And Memphis doesn't have any bigs. He's going to have so many blocks, steals, rebounds that I'm not worried about it.
Dean Wade officially ruled out for the Cavs today. I agree. And I don't actually think it's that big of a concern because, like you said, he's not really a guy that ever hits a minute ceiling that often. Like, there'll be some close games where he plays more minutes than usual. But he's not often stacking up that many minutes. And so the situations like this where it's like he should just be unbelievably dominant while he's on the court, these are the ones where I want to get to him because I'm never feeling really safe about Wemby hitting a minute ceiling. DK GPP, you want Wemby and Keldon Johnson or Jalen Duren and Ace Bailey?
Ooh, that's tough. I'm actually going to go number 2 because I love Ace and Duren's my favorite tournament play. But I love all 4 guys.
Luka and Donovan Mitchell or SGA and Giddey. That is Luka and Donovan Mitchell by a fairly significant margin. Is Sharif Cooper in play at point guard on FanDuel for a value?
Not a guy that was on my radar, especially since point guard is so loaded. We do have him projected for 24 minutes. Obviously, you want exposure to that Utah-Washington game. So if you're building 5 or 10 lineups, you can throw them in there. But if you're building one, I probably wouldn't go there.
Yeah, it's obviously different site, FanDuel versus DraftKings, but I have Sharif Cooper in 2 of my 150 lineups. Yeah. So in the pool, but not somebody I'm getting very much of. Rob G wants my take for that same question, the Wemby, Keldon, or Duren Bailey one. I think I'm on the Duren Bailey side too. It's really close. I love both of those. Admittedly, if it were me, I would probably just split that team in half and do one is one version, one is the other, and half my entry fees.
That's always an option. People are always so stuck on 2v2s. You can always split it.
Yeah, that's probably what I would do. But if I had to choose, I think I would go with the Duran Bailey one. They're both so great, though. What do you think about Paul George for FanDuel cash?
Like I said, like before the suspension at 6.7 against the Bulls, without Maxey, we would be jumping to play him. So there's potential rust there, but I think he's fine. I don't feel great about him, but power forward is so bad, I'd probably play him over the power forward.
All right, someone has DK, GPP, Agill, or Carson, but I don't know who Carson would be. And so I am double check there to see if they can give us some kind of clarification there, because I don't think there's a Carson in the player pool. But TJ, what is the minutes projection for Joel Embiid tonight? We have him projected for 24 minutes in his first game back. So not somebody that is in play for us. Is Castle okay on FanDuel? Yes, absolutely. Castle, one of my favorite tournament plays on the slate. In fact, I will actually change my Plums play. It's not Devin Vassell. It's Stephon Castle. That is my guy today. That's my top tournament play on the slate. FanDuel single entry GPP. I have Luka and Wemby with Oscar at center. Should I pivot to Duran and replace Wemby at power forward? Honestly, I like the idea of playing Luka and Wemby together if you can. I'd say all the power to you. Don't worry about changing it up.
Yeah. Plus, if you do that, then you're missing out on the cheap centers. Like I like Duran on a lot, but only if you build multiple lineups.
He meant Carter Bryant. So you want Anthony Gill or Carter Bryant?
I definitely want Anthony Gill.
Straight up, Keldon Johnson or Champagny. That would be Keldon Johnson. I'm just using some Champagny to get a little difference in some lineups, but definitely prefer Keldon. DK single entry, Jenkins and Vassell or Harper and Buzelis?
Probably number 2, but man, Danis has been crushing, and once again, he's going to be low owned, so that's an interesting one.
All right, we got about 3 minutes left to lock. Get your questions in if you got any left. Make sure you get your lineups in. And we are still waiting for a little bit of news, not a lot. Ayo Dosunmu still listed as questionable. Cody Williams still listed as questionable. That is actually really big because he's projected for 33 minutes, and the Jazz will be down to 9 guys if Cody Williams is out. So a very important piece of news that we're still waiting for. Javon Small listed as questionable for Memphis. I think they might have a couple other guys that are in that realm as well. So we got to keep an eye on Memphis, but Small certainly the biggest one of that group. I want to double check quick to see if any of these Cleveland guys are worth adding into my pool with that Dean Wade news. But in the meantime, is it wild to run a team 4 Utah and 3 Wizards on FanDuel? Full game stack.
It's not wild at all.
No, I have no problem with that today either. Dennis Schroeder projecting pretty well for 3,500, but he kind of already was before. I think he might have picked up a couple more minutes there. So Schroeder now projecting pretty well for Cleveland. And actually Thomas Bryant projects a little bit better as well. I don't think he's anybody you need to get into the pool just because what kind of minute ceiling does he truly provide? But somewhat interesting to get a little Thomas Bryant there if you're playing 150 lineups. D-Mill is asking Bones and Harper or Castle and Cooper on FanDuel. I'm only considering Cooper because it helps me get to Castle.
Yeah, I think I probably prefer number 1, and then you might get some, additional minutes for Bones if Io ends up being out.
That will do it for today's show. A reminder that baseball is back. First game is tonight, but our first show is tomorrow, 12 p.m. Eastern time. You'll have Dean, you'll have Cheese, you'll have Cardi helping you break down the slate, helping you win some money. Don't forget to tune in. That's going to be a lot of fun. I can't wait for baseball to be back. I can't really remember. How big of a baseball guy are you?
So I used to write the grind down for it every day, and then kind of got burned out from baseball, and then I stopped writing the grind down. Now I love it again. So yeah, I'm all in. Can't wait.
Heck yeah. Who's your team?
I don't have one.
Yeah. Well, you're welcome to join the Jays bandwagon with me. we'll welcome you. We'll welcome you aboard. We'd be happy to have you. But like I said, 12 p.m. tomorrow, Dean, Cardi, Cheese, some more MLB content. Very first show. And then we got an NBA show in the evening as well. Myself, Dean, and Kyle will be taking you all the way up until lock for the NBA. No more questions. That'll do it. We're approaching lock. Thank you so much to everyone who tuned in today. On behalf of myself, Noto, Steve, doing an incredible job behind the scenes. We'll see you next time. Peace.